The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. The lower house approves the proposed 5.768 trillion peso national budget for 2024. Next year's budget is the biggest in history and is nearly 10% more than the budget for this year. It was passed on second and third reading on the same day, owing to President Bongbong Marcos's certification of the bill as urgent. Before they voted on it, lawmakers had heated discussion last night. Kabataan Party List Representative Raul Manuel questioned the rush in passing the General Appropriations Bill. But before he could finish speaking, his mic was cut off. Voting continued with 296 congressmen in favor of the bill, while 3 lawmakers, all from the Makabayan bloc, objected. No one abstained from voting.
No bill passed by either house shall become a law unless it has passed 3 readings on separate days, and printed copies thereof in its final form have been distributed to its members 3 days before its passage, except when the President certifies to the necessity of its immediate enactment to meet a public calamity or emergency. Madam Speaker, ano po ang basis ng emergency or calamity sa certification? Madam Speaker, hindi din naman
there's already a certification coming from the Office of the President. I think
the Chair now rules that the point of the gentleman,
hindi pa ako tapos, Madam
the Honorable Manuel, is out of order.
With 296 members voting in the affirmative, 3 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, House Bill number 8980, the 2024 General Appropriations Bill, is approved on third and final reading.
Meanwhile, Albay 1st District Representative Lagman voted yes with reservations. He insisted that confidential and intelligence funds should be removed from the national budget first and reallocated to government programs.
Remove the confidential and intelligence funds from agencies whose respective principal mandates have no affinity or nexus to these secret funds. 2, reallocate the confidential and intelligence fund to education, health, and other social services. 3, limit the amount of confidential and intelligence funds.
The House Appropriations Committee clarifies, though, that realignments can still be done during the period of amendments, which was opened last night. This means that even though Congress has approved the bill on final reading, it can still amend the proposal and reallocate funds. Recall that prior to the passage of the proposed 2024 national budget in the lower chamber, House leaders decided to remove or slash the confidential and intelligence funds from civilian agencies to those that deal with national security. House Appropriations Committee Chair Elizalde Co said agencies that will be affected by realignments include the Office of the Vice President and the Education Department, which are proposing a combined total of 650 million pesos in confidential funds. Proposed amendments are expected to be submitted tomorrow, September 29. Despite what seems to be a rushed move, Iloilo Representative Janet Garin maintains that Congress is proceeding as it should. Iloilo Representative Janet Garin maintains that the transfer of 125 million peso CIF to the Office of the Vice President was legal. Garin told the Big Story that the budget was legally released from the Budget Department's contingent funds. The 125 million peso OVP budget was the subject of much speculation after being spent in just 19 days, as confirmed by the OVP itself. This was fueled by Vice President Sara Duterte's refusal to elaborate where it was used. Garin said there was no augmentation, utilization of savings, or any transfer from the Office of the President at all. Garin, however, noted that this is still subject to audit by the COA.
Nagkaroon ng exchange ng dokumento para ma-assess yung pangangailangan. The DBM Secretary, the DBM recommended the amount to the President approved, and there was a release of contingent fund to OVP. In other words, it's legal.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. The National Wages and Productivity Commission approves wage hikes in 3 regions effective October 16. In Cagayan Valley, there will be a 30 peso increase in the daily minimum wage. With that, the minimum wage of non-agriculture workers will climb to 450 pesos and 430 pesos for agriculture workers. Over in Central Luzon, the wage hike is at 40 pesos. This will bring the minimum wages of non-agri workers to 493 to 500 pesos. Agriculture workers will receive a salary of 454 to 470 pesos daily, while those at retail and service will get 475 to 489 pesos. Workers in Socsargen will be seeing a 35 peso increase in their minimum wage. That brings the total for non-agriculture workers in the region to 403 pesos, and for agriculture and retail and service workers to 382 pesos. The Foreign Affairs Department confirms that former PNP Chief Rodolfo Azurin was held by immigration authorities in Canada. But the agency says it still doesn't know the reason behind this. In yesterday's budget deliberations, DFA officials said they have asked the Canadian Embassy for a statement on the matter, but Canadian officials have yet to submit a report. Initial reports say that Azurin was questioned by Canadian immigration authorities at the Langley Airport about the Duterte administration's war on drugs. Sources initially told the Philippine Star that Canadian authorities even asked about Azurin about incumbent senators allied with the previous administration. Azurin has clarified that he was not deported by the Canadian government and that he opted to take a flight back to the Philippines. He accused a certain police general for supposedly spreading lies about his supposed deportation. Azurin has yet to name this official. He says, though, that he's set to make an official statement on the matter. Before being appointed PNP chief by President Marcos, Azurin served as commander of the Northern Luzon Police Area and was also the commander of the Southern Luzon Police Area. In weather, Pag-asa is monitoring 2 low-pressure areas. The first LPA was located east of extreme northern Luzon within the Philippine Area of Responsibility. Its trough will bring rains over Visayas, Zamboanga Peninsula, Northern Mindanao, Caraga, and Davao region. The weather disturbance, though, is expected to dissipate within the day. The other LPA was seen outside Par, east of southeastern Luzon. The Weather Bureau said it may enter the Par and develop into a tropical cyclone in the coming days. Meanwhile, the southwest monsoon or habagat will continue to bring rains over northern Palawan. Metro Manila and the rest of the country may also expect rains due to localized thunderstorms. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us again at 11:15 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Diego Castro. We are One News. We throw you over to the Senate, where committees on public order and dangerous drugs and the Committee on Women and Children are holding a briefing on the Socorro Bayanihan services.